Yes, good evening, everyone. This is Brother Benson Media, and today is a Friday. We are blessed to have this time to have a discussion on the issue of Adani and also what the people of Kenya are thinking because it is a serious issue which has the people of Kenya really talking about it. So we also want to just have our view and what we think. If you're new, you'll be joining, we welcome you. If you've not subscribed, we are also requesting you to subscribe so that whenever we are having these discussions, you'll be notified. Before I continue, allow me to invite my co-host, Mr. Barak, to say hi to our viewers before we proceed.
Hello and good evening, our viewers. Welcome to Brother Benson Media. I'm so happy to be back. I was away for a few days. And if you're joining us, we really appreciate your presence and your engagements and your activeness in terms of comments and engaging us with questions and everything. So thank you so much. Take your seat and join us for the session. Thank you so much, Mark. And I'm looking forward to having an interactive engagement on this issue of Adani. Asante.
Okay, karibu sana. Before we start this discussion, you can remember Adani is one company that has gone through, they've been mentioned actually before their entrance in Kenyan land. There's so many stories that we've heard about Adani. Then, and them coming to the Republic of Kenya, was it wasn't like a new thing that we were going to hear about Adani for the first time. And so this is a company that has its origin from India, and it is owned by an Indian billionaire by the name Adani. So this billionaire does a lot of business worldwide. He majors in airport construction. He majors in airport construction and also the running of the airport. He also majors in power supply and also power supply, maintenance, green energy. And so them coming to the Republic of Kenya was not like a new thing to us because these are things that they've done in several countries. But the unfortunate bit is that they've had scandals left, right, and center. And most Kenyans were not really aware of the scandals and everything about Adani. If you remember the time this discussion about the Jkia started, it was during the demonstration by the Gen Zs. And there's a young man who really trended. I don't know, people have been asking where this young man got the information that Ruto wanted to sell the airport to an Indian guy. Personally, I did not even know that initially Adani originated from India. And the young man or the young boy was very particular. Huyu Ruto ni nani? Mbona anauza airport? Anauzia nani? Anauzia Muhindi. And it came to pass. And so this is something that we really have to look into. And most people thought that this young man was not really okay. Some thought that kwa vile alivaa kama, I think he's a street boy. As a street boy, so many people did not take him serious. And also the question that came is, where did he get this information? And he's a young man. He's not even 18. He's still not yet an adult. And so he started this conversation. There are people who took it serious. And along the way, we came to learn that it was true that the government was getting into contract with the Adani Group for them to start operating in the Republic of Kenya in the running of Jkia, and we are being told that they were going to get a lease of almost 30 years. They're also coming into the energy sector. The most, there's a part that the people of Kenya are also having issues with. When the people of Kenya started raising issues that this Adani Group, we don't want it. The old takeover of JKA, we don't want it. Raila Amolo Odinga, who has been the opposition leader, sometimes back he's always stood with the people of Kenya against, such kind of deals. And for the first time, we saw him holding a presser. And he said that this is a good thing and we should give it a chance. We should embrace it as a country. And the most funny thing again is that, remember Raila Amolo produced his experts. And the experts, one is on the docket of energy, the other one is in the docket of finance. And the Adani thing, the whole of it, the way it looked like a fraud, this Adani thing was touching, the finance and the energy. And so what wanasema ya kwamba the experts have been touched and that Adani is kind of exposing something. And then the experts also found it a little bit tough because, it was tough for them. They were put in front to give explanations about the dealings and the whole plan of Adani. CS Wandayi spoke very clear that this is the best thing that we should embrace. Mbadi at one point also gave it a good nod. And so today they have turned their back and they're saying it was wrong. Mr. Barak, what do you know about Adani and the conversation, how it started, if you've ever heard of it, and what can you say about it? Because, the people of Kenya seems to have gone further, done a lot of investigation, and from the investigation, they were clear that this Adani group wasn't really going to help us as a people. What is your take?
Well, thank you so much for the background information, Mark. And I believe that this issue for Adani is a matter of national interest. And I sympathize with the experts because they joined the government when the Adani deal was already initiated and was something that was ongoing. So there was very little that they could do but to support it because they had no other option. So I think the issue that Kenyans raise, Kenyans, we really love to dig into issues and get accurate information because the government deals with a lot of secrecy. And when a deal that involves billions of dollars, billions of money is handled with a lot of secrecy, then it raises a lot of questions. Because Kenya being a democracy, there's a principle of public participation in issues that involves the public and issues of public interest, issues of national interest. There must be public participation because the members of the public, because these issues, these deals affects them directly because they are taxpayers and their money is going to be used in terms of paying back the investment or either way, the taxpayers are going to be affected. So they must be involved in terms of coming up with these decisions. So the leadership cannot just take it upon themselves to process issues of magnitude of investment under the tables and purport that it is the best for the best interest of the country. Therefore, we all agree as Kenyans, I believe you included, our views are included, that we need a facelift of our airport. We need to improve our infrastructure in terms of air transport And our airports need a lot of facelift because we are lagging behind even in the East African region. If you and Kenya being, especially Jkia being one of the busiest airport in the region, it really needs a facelift. And we also agree that in terms of our energy, we need to expand and our energy and increase boost the connectivity, because the need is growing, and we need to boost our energy supply. But the problem that Kenyans have is with the company Adani. It is not with the projects, because the projects are very necessary, and even though we must get a company to do these projects for us as a country. Now the question was, Adani as a company has some issues in different countries, and if you saw it in the US yesterday, the chief, I believe the MD or the CEO was charged with corruption. And it means Adani is a huge company dealing with many countries. This company swindled Americans. Americans don't take if you mess with their citizens, they don't take it lightly. They will come for you, because America being a superpower, there's nowhere in the world where they cannot reach. So they will come for you. So you find that the Kenyans raised questions about the integrity of the company, and our country also, with the history that we have and with political leadership we have in this country, we've had a lot of corruption from Moi regime, the Golden Bank scandal, to during Kibaki regime with Anglo leasing and Grand Regency, and when you come to Uhuru regime, the SGR, how it was exaggerated, and billions of Kenyan shillings lost. COVID billionaires. We have had more than 10 mega scandals in this country. Not mention even the Afia House scandals, the Minister of Education. We've had even ministers being sacked and being re-employed. We've even had Tokyo Embassy. We find that Kenyans' political leadership is characterized, it's like they are intertwined with corruption. Yeah. So we must be alert as citizens, because we cannot keep silent and assume that these leaders are going to engage into these mega deals without having a hidden agenda. And that's why you see Kenyans were asking questions. How did this procurement process take place? Why is it that there was no public participation? Why is it that we are just we are just hearing these issues from sources that are not government? So the government must come out clearly and inform the public that we are intending to involve this company to undertake the ABCD projects. So we are inviting public opinions, and they must hold these public participation forums openly and invite Kenyans to give their opinion, so that their contribution can be taken into consideration. Because the shocking issue is that this issue just came out as a result of demonstration, or the anti-finance bill by demonstration by the Gen Zs. So these were issues that were leaked and came into the public limelight after the demonstration, and we realized that there were issues that were on the pipeline long before even the finance bill was became a contentious issue. So we find that the government was dealing with the Adani under the table without the public knowledge, which is against the constitution. Because even if you look at the Procurement Act, it requires that accountability and transparency be undertaken during the procurement process. So that is the issue. Why is it that the government was carrying out this deal in secrecy? And how comes there is no transparency and accountability to the public? Because these people, the people who are holding positions in government, they are holding these positions in trust. These positions, they do not belong to them, belongs to the people of Kenya. So they are just sitting in this position in trust. So they must be accountable and to the public who because this position belongs to the public. Therefore, these were the issues that Kenyans were raising. We agree that we need these projects, but we must ensure that there is accountability and transparency on how we award these tenders to foreign companies, because even the public private partnership, it requires the public, because we are partnering with these individuals. 30 years is not a short time. By now, in 30 years' time, Bwana Mark, I believe you'll be having maybe grandchildren. So it is not a short time. It's a very long time. That if you make a wrong decision today, and you are going to commit the country to abide by that decision for 30 years, maybe even those who are in government right now, they will not be there in 30 years. So you find that we are going to find our children, our grandchildren, in a very awkward position, even to be paying for debt that they don't even understand how we acquired them, and they will not even see the benefit of those projects. So for Adani to be charged because of giving bribe for them to secure tenders, it means that they are not in business in the right way. They are making money by using bribe to government officials so that they can get these tenders. So I believe that Kenyans did a very good thing to stand up against Adani deal, and they did very well by digging the information about Adani as a company, and by pressuring the government to back up on this issue for Adani, for the good of the country. So it is upon now Ruto's government to ensure that they initiate a process that is transparent, that is going to involve the public, so that as they source for a new company to come and undertake these projects, they are going to do this with transparency and accountability, and they're going to involve the public so that everything goes on according to the law, and so that the public can have trust in the process, and so that we can also kickstart the process of facelifting our airport, and also constructing the power supply that we really need in this country. That's my take, Mr. Mark.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barak. There's a question that so many Kenyans are asking themselves, that in Kenya we have rules and laws on how procurements and all these tenders should be awarded, and there should be competition, and there should be advertisement, and several companies doing the similar thing, they all bring up, they apply, then they are vetted, and then they go through the whole processes, and then the best one will then be chosen. We did not see this happen. Something else that is coming up is, for public, for PPs, when they were going for this Adani, we did not see, there should be some competition, just the way I've mentioned that, at least several companies should be put on stage, and then we look at the best. Adani has done this for quite some time. We don't really dispute that. But, was it really necessary for the government to get into this deal without doing an investigation to get to understand how Adani has operated in other countries? Because we've gotten to learn that in Australia, they had issues with the government. In Sri Lanka, they had issues. In Bangladesh, they have issues of corruption, and they've been accused in so many countries. And so was it really necessary for the government to give them a very essential part of assets of this country, like the Jkia and the running of Ketraco, or the energy sector in this country? How does government operate before they get into such deals? Do they even do investigations to get to understand what they are bringing in the country? Or what really matters is the interest of the top leaders or the top officials of the country? And could there be something hidden because it was not put in public The people of Kenya were not even, this is something, the running and the building of an airport. This is our country. We need to know what is happening. They just wake up and then they decide that I am the president. We are going to start building over there, and we are bringing these people without the consultation of the people. Is that really what leadership is all about? We understand the fact that we need an improvement of infrastructural, in the country. We are really in dire need. We need to upgrade it, both, airport, roads, railway, electricity and all these things. But do you think from where you are, it was right for the government to get into this deal without all this due diligence, Mr. Barak?
Mark, the reason why we do not attract the best companies is because the culture of kickbacks in our government and the culture of corruption. We attract the companies like Adani because Adani are known for bribing government officials to get contracts. And that is why even the government went for them, for obvious reasons. Because, we have companies that work with integrity. And if you try to portray yourself that you need any kickback from them, they will not even entertain you as a government. If you hear the history of Adani, in fact, integrities and Adani, they are parallel. And that is why the government was very much comfortable to work with Adani, because they knew that they will get their own share as Adani will start working in Kenya. And that is why they was very much comfortable defending Adani. And you have heard many stories about many even foreign investors giving up investing in Kenya because of the bureaucracy that we have and the culture of expecting kickbacks. That if you want to work here, you must give me this for you to get licenses. And that is the problem that leads us as a country to end up with companies like Adani that lacks integrity, that lacks transparency, that lacks accountability, because that is what we thrive in. The people who hold positions of power, they use those positions to acquire wealth, to accumulate wealth. They use state power to accumulate wealth. And that is why they intended to use state power to acquire wealth from Adani's deal. And Adani is well known for doing that. And even the charges that are there in the New York court, it is accusing Adani of giving bribes to government officials so that they can get tenders. And so you understand why they were here. They were to give government officials bribe for them to get this tender. And that's why it was not in the public domain. It was under the carpet. So that you'll just see construction going on in the airport. You don't even know what's happening. But after people making noise, now the government start now explaining things that you can't even understand. And that's when we've listened to Mbadi. His explanation is not making sense when it comes to Adani, because even himself, he does not understand. And he's the treasury CS. If you listen to Wandayi before Parliament, you even sympathize with him, because you are being asked critical questions on the integrity of the company, corruption, and you are saying that despite the corruption, we are just going on, we are going to work with this company. It shows you how these government officials have blindfolded themselves and turned a deaf ear on the obvious facts that are there in the public domain, that this company have integrity issues. Can we go back to the drawing board and look at this deal afresh? Are we not setting ourselves for failure as if our systems are not working? So the main reason why the government settled on Adani was because they were going to receive bribes from Adani as Adani gets tenders. And who is going to suffer in the process? The taxpayers, because we are going to lose money in the process. Because whatever Adani is giving, they're going to recover through charges that they are going to impose on the services they're offering. And the government officials that are going to benefit, they're going to pocket this money, and this money is going to benefit them and their family. That's my take.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barak. You've talked about Mbadi, you've talked about, Mbadi is the Cabinet Secretary of Finance. You've also spoken about Wandayi. And this Adani conversation, it started actually before Raila's experts in court, before they were brought into this government. I remember by the time the Gen Zs were going for demonstration, already the conversation, the old deal with Adani was already in making. And part of it, actually, they had gone a little bit far when it comes to the negotiations. And so, CS Mbadi, CS Wandayi, they've gotten into this government when already there was a discussion which was going on. And so my question to you is, they may not understand really. It could be that either they were not there or they were not really supporting the government by then when the conversation with Adani started. And now that they've gotten into this, and with the stand that we've always seen, they've been in opposition, they've been fighting for the people. Somebody like Mbadi, he has always stood by the facts, he has always stood by the opposition, Somebody like Wandayi, remember when he was the minority leader, how loud, how energetic he would speak, fighting for the people of Kenya. What has really changed? That they got into a government, found a discussion which was going on, and they are now embracing, they are really supporting it. If you hear what Wandayi was speaking, and then you either take just some few clips while he was still the minority leader or still on the opposite side, you'll ask yourself, are these the real people, or this is a reflection? Is this the same person? You'll not mean. So my question to you is, ni nini nafanya wanasiasa ambapo kwamba if they're not on the government side, they stand with the people, and they stand to an extent that they can even cry on behalf of the people. But then the moment they cross over, they forget. They fully support something that is not really there, and they support it fully. Do you really know what is happening? That is a question that I would want you to answer. And again, the stand of one Raila Amolo Odinga, he has always had a stand, a stand that reflects the voice of the people. Adani has been accused of money laundering, of valuation, bribery, and so many things. And still, I'm quite sure that Raila Amolo Odinga knows all these things. He's still saying it is okay, give them. Not just him, but even, where are we as a country? And with these politicians, are they always truthful to us as a people? Or the moment they turn or they cross the line, they only think about their stomach and what they're getting out of it? And what can we learn? What lessons can we learn from the shift that we're seeing among politicians? Something else that really, made me wonder is the fact that if you saw the members of parliament, their comments, before they're done, they were saying, yes, it is good. We need to upgrade. No one is saying we should not upgrade. Adani is the best, And now, after the president said that we have terminated, they were all there, for interviews. All of them saying, yes, it was okay for the president to do that. This is a corrupt company. They should not be given a chance in the country. And all of them have not changed their tune. Why is it that the members of parliament who has the authority and the power to legislate and to also look into these dealings before the government get into these deals did not do their work? And why is it that whatever the president says, without them thinking and looking at and even doing the verification as a parliament, because they're there to protect us, they are there to protect the people, they have the power to do that, they would have investigated this Adani and brought motions, to speak about it. They did not do that. What are we learning from our leaders, Mr. Barak?
Well, if you start with Parliament, Parliament is there. It should be there to protect people, but it's not there to protect people because I don't know if you are surprised when they gave the president a standing ovation for cancelling Adani deal. They even those who have been supporting Adani deal, they stood up and they clapped for him for cancelling the deal. You remember when the members of parliament passed the finance bill 2024 by force, and when they went to State House, especially those who belong to the majority party, and when Ruto said that he will not sign the bill, they clapped for him. So it just shows you that it's a demonstration that we don't have members of parliament who are there to protect the individuals, the people that they represent, but they are there to protect the interest of the ruling class, the interest of the executive, the interest of their party leaders. That's why they will they will fight so hard to pass legislation, to pass bills that belongs to the government. And when Ruto refused to assent to it, the way he refused to assent to the finance bill, they will clap for him again for refusing to assent to a bill that they passed against the wishes of the people. So you will see that we really don't have leaders who care for the interests of the people. Now, looking at the experts who are now defending the government, the ODM experts, they went to the government, and you can see that they are not seeing the things the way they used to see them when they were in the position. And this even goes even to the president. You remember how the president portrayed himself between 2018 and 2022 as the darling of the people. He was the hustler number one. He was the hustler's clerk. He was the defender of the defenseless. And he promised people that he's going to form a government of Mama Mboga, a government of Watwa Boda Boda, a government of the people at the lowest cadre of the pyramid. Is that the same president who is now sitting at the State House? Politicians, when they get to these positions of power, they totally forget about where they're coming from. Then they start now having a different perspective. You remember Raila, who was demonstrating after losing election in 2022. In 2023, Raila almost brought the CDBD to a standstill by calling for mass actions. Was it every Mondays and Thursdays? And more than 75 people were killed. It is the same Raila now who is the number one defender of the government that is fighting against. What changed? Interest. When he was calling for mass action, his interests were not well taken care of. But when Ruto called him aside and sorted him out and decided to take care of his interest, Raila is now number one defender of the government projects. He's now defending even the Adani deals. Remember, he gave Adani a clean bill of health. And he said that Adani is the best company that can undertake this project in Kenya. Even ignoring the fact that Kenyans have dug very damning information about Adani. But Raila went ahead and defended Adani. And even today, he will still defend it because Raila, once his interest is taken care of, he doesn't mind about you. He doesn't mind. He does not mind about the country. He thinks about Raila, and Raila thinks about Raila, and he only thinks about Raila. And that is why he will defend it. And if his interest is not taken care of tomorrow, he will turn against it. And he will say that was the worst ever deal that this government has ever committed itself to. So even you remember even when Raila shook hands with Uhuru Kenyatta, and I remember the doctors went on strike at some point, and Raila told the doctors that the government does not have money. You should be reasonable enough to understand that we don't have money. The government does not have money. And this is someone who was supposed to be fighting for the opposition, for the people, because he was the leader of the opposition of NASA then. So you can see very clearly that politicians, once their interest is taken care of, they can say anything to protect the person who is who is taking care of their interest. But if their interests are not taken care of, they will say anything because they have been left in the cold. So that is the changing nature, and it's so unfortunate that it is happening in our country. And not even one member of parliament is, let me say, not even one senior leader is an exception, because we've seen them changing colors like chameleon depending with where they are, and they change their tune depending with where they sit, where they stand depending with where they are sitting. So it's unfortunate. You might think that they are with you today, only for them to change tune tomorrow, and you'll wonder if they are the same people. But now the problem is that we have individuals in this country that believe in what politicians say. For example, even when Raila gave Adani clean bill of health, you had some people who believe in him saying that if Baba has said that Adani is good, who are you to question Adani? You know, it's an unfortunate thing that is happening in this country, because you went to school, and even you at the level of a graduate that you are, you delegate your thinking capacity to a politician. That once a politician has said that something is good, then who are you to question? Then it's unfortunate. It's like your parents wasted their money on educating you. It's like even the government wasted their money investing in you in campus, because you should have your own capacity to reason as an individual, even though you are supporting a political leader. Yeah? Because supporting a political leader does not mean that now you delegate your thinking capacity to these leaders. Because once they understand that they have sycophants as their supporters, they will say anything. And if you reach a position where you cannot reason beyond what your political leader says, then you need to take a step back and think about yourself. Do some self-assessment, because that is where that's the highest level of sycophancy, and it can even be equal to stupidity, because even countries sink when they have citizens who cannot reason beyond what their politicians are saying. So it's unfortunate.
Mr. Barak, on what you are saying, you know, I allow me to just add this. So we have some members of parliament who are very much learned. Some of them are doctors. They have doctorate, PhDs. Some of them are professors, you know, and some of them are, you know, professionals, you know. And from my understanding, the president is also learned. He's got a PhD. My question to you is, are we, even all these people who are learned in the parliament, where have we gotten to as a country, to an extent that mtu amesoma akona PhDs and the rest, but if you see the level of psychophants in them, you ask yourself, did this one really go to school? Did they even earn these PhDs that they are claiming to have? Because I believe that any person who is learned, they have their own brain, they need to think, they need to take a stand, and they are not supposed to be, follow. Hawafai kufuatana kama makondoo. What is it? Are we really, do we respect money and wealth more than our brain and what our brain has? Why are they following and becoming sycophants, to people with money or power, and forgetting that they also have a brain? They are learned people. They need to have a stand. They have to reason. Have we gotten to a point where education is no longer recognized? Where education no longer matters, but what matters is money and power? Whereby if you see money and power, unachukua hiyo, how do you call it, the cap, hiyo cap ya masomo unaweka kando, follow, you offload your brain, unaacha kando, follow money and power. How are we going to deal with this? Because even the issue of professionalism is, it's no longer even respected, and that is why we are seeing doctors every now and then, they are going for demonstration, lecturers are going for demonstration, teachers are not respected, professionalism is no longer respected. And that is why we are seeing people thriving, majority of them did not even go to school, just because they have managed to get some money and gotten into power. And those are the people who are, making decisions, advising, and very much respected. If you see, there's a clip that was going around on how Member of Parliament of Kapsaret was trying to line up some, even some governors so that they can greet the president, just because he's closer to the president, he's the one who's telling them, now come, line up here. You see, where are we headed as a country?
If you read the Betrayal in the City and you understand the role of Mulili in that book, and you see how the society in that book, in that play ended, and the reign of that leadership that Mulili was so much defending, you will really know that we are really living in the times of betrayal in the city. So our political culture is what has brought us where we are. And we have allowed people to become political gods, and as a society, we've not valued even education when it comes to politics. And we reached even a point where we say that education is not important in leadership. As long as you have money and you can buy your way to parliament, you can buy your way to the presidency, it doesn't matter how much you're educated. And if you know that we have the constitution say that you must have a degree for you, a university degree for you to be a governor, and you see the person who was lining them up as the self-declared engineer, lining degree holders to just go and shake the president's hand, it's unfortunate. And because it's our political culture that has brought us to this point. And if you look at the professors that we're saying are in parliament, and the PhD holders and so forth, it is our political culture that has rendered them to be irrelevant in terms of academic. Because if you look at the way they reason, because if they go against these political godfathers, some of them may not make it even to parliament, not even to county assembly, leave alone parliament. And that's why you see that we have very good leaders who have vowed never to go into politics, because of how we have a very bad political culture. And unless you become a sycophant of a political god, you will never make it to parliament. Take an example of someone like Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, who never made it to parliament when he was against Raila Odinga, until he decided to become a sycophant of Raila Odinga. That is when he was elected as a member of parliament of Kisumu Rural. and he has survived as a sycophant until he became a governor. Now he's serving his last term. But when he was decided to use his own brain, he never made it to parliament. Same with James Orengo, the governor of Siaya. When he differed with Raila in 2002 and even decided to run for presidency, the people of Ugenya even refused to elect him as a member of parliament until he came back and he decided now to play as a sycophant. And he has survived, and right now he's a governor. From being a member of parliament to a senator, now to a governor. So it is our political culture that ensures that now some of our best leaders decide not to use their brains properly. Because if they use their brain, they will lose the political support that they are getting from the political godfathers. So we need, as a society also, we need to work on our culture. How on earth do you find people like Sudi thriving in politics with the character that they have, when we have good people out there who are afraid to join politics because of they value their integrity, they value their character, they don't want to be tarnished as individuals. They don't want to tarnish their names and their reputation by joining politics. So how are we treating our political leaders? Are we so loyal as voters to our political godfathers that when they lift somebody's hand, whether these people are criminals or not, whether these people are the dumbest in the society or not, we just elect them without thinking? We need to work on that. Electing leaders based on euphoria and following waves, political waves, during elections, that we say that we are voting for 6Ps. It doesn't matter who is vying on that ticket. We just vote blindly. We must end that culture if we are to save ourselves. And that's why we have people in parliament who are just like sheep. They are just flowing to the one direction because they swear their allegiance to their political leaders, not the electorates who put them in those positions, because they know that with the support of their political godfather, they will make it back to parliament. They will just come to your constituency. He will just lift his hand and say that this is our candidate here, vote for him, and you just vote. And we will continue having incompetent leaders in parliament. We'll continue having incompetent leaders occupying these leadership positions, and we continue complaining as citizens while we also contribute to the problem that is affecting us as a society. Therefore, we need also to do some self-assessments. How have we contributed to the problem that is ailing us as a country? How have we contributed to ensuring that we elect bad leaders into office? What is our role as electorates? Are we supporting bad governance by supporting our political godfathers electing incompetent leaders because they've said so? This culture of lifting people's hand and giving direct nominations where political parties are dominant and people just elect them because their party has said so, without assessing the capabilities of these leaders, the capacities of these leaders to deliver. Then we start calling them names when they are in office, while we have already also contributed to the problem. As Kenyans, electorates, it is time to do some self-assessment, because these leaders don't elect themselves; they are elected. Ruto did not elect himself as the president; he was elected by people. These members of parliament who are misbehaving in parliament, they did not just find themselves in parliament; they were elected, with the exemption of few nominated 12 in the National Assembly and few others in Senate. We elected 290 members of the National Assembly and 47 senators and 47 also women representatives. So before we elect them, did we do self-evaluation of each and every candidate? Or we just elect them because ODM said so, or even UDA said so? So it is also time for us to evaluate our contribution to the problem that is ailing us in terms of good governance or bad governance in this country. That's my take.
Thank you, Mr. Barak. You've spoken about evaluating ourselves and also being part, taking part on the growth and everything that is happening in the country. That has actually reminded me of the role of youths. The youths are the majority in this country. And since the government of William Samoei Ruto got into power, we've seen some positive contribution by the youths, whereby they fought so hard to ensure that the finance bill was brought down. They fought so hard to ensure that the opulence that we were seeing in the cabinet secretaries and the high level of incompetency in the cabinet secretary, part of it was dealt with. The issue of Adani, the people have been talking about it online. There are meetings which have been held on X, and the youths even threatened to go to demonstration on 21st. The day that the president was giving that speech. Are we seeing what can you say about this pressure that is coming from the youth? Is it the one that is trying to bring back the good leadership in the country? Is it the one that is making the leadership to take a U-turn and try listen to them whenever they say that they are going to go for demonstration? And from where you see it, are you seeing a consistent youth, a youth that is going to consistently give pressure to leaders who are not willing to make decisions while conversing and listening to the people? Or you're seeing a youth that is going to lose hope along the way? Are you seeing a possibility, and what we've seen with the youths, are they going to manage to ensure that they bring back transparency and good leadership in this country from the things that we've so far seen them do? What is your take on that? And again, maybe before you come in, again on the issue of tribe and tribalism, at some point we've seen young people saying that this time round we are not going to be tribal. We are going to evaluate, someone based on their performance. We're going to evaluate them based on what they can do. Are they going to have this consistency, or when it comes to the election, they will all, retreat back to the tribal cocoons, tribal culture? What have you so far observed?
Well, Mark, world over, the youth has a very important role in shaping the future of their society, because the responsibility of ensuring that this future is secured is rests upon the shoulders of the youth. So the youth must come out very strongly. It must take up their position of ensuring that the governance of the country or their society is in good hands and is actively kept on check to ensure that the future is secure. And if the youth relaxes, then the government can mess up the future of the youth by making decisions now that are going to ensure that, to make life very difficult in future. So the youth must stand up and ensure that the governance of their society is well kept on check and works for the interest of right now and also the future. Because if we leave these politicians without keeping them on check, then we do not have even a future to talk about. Unfortunately, in Kenya, if you look at how the youth were very united during the anti-finance bill demonstration and the events that happened after, I don't think we are yet at a level where we can say that the youth can vote without looking at their surname. Remember this guy, this famous, the Kasmuel Makore. He was one of the people who are saying that we are tribeless, we are I don't know what, we are leaderless. And look at what has happened when he has finally gotten his way back to his roots. Some people are praising him and others are castigating him because I don't know who told him that he cannot make it without going back to his roots. And others told him, now you are down in the right direction. We have a party as the Luo community, and that party is ODM. So for you to make it in politics, you must come back home. And he's not going there to fight for anybody. He's going there to fight for himself, not for anybody. So, if you look at such examples, it makes you a sad person if you believe in the future of this country. Because we want to see a future where you will not be judged by your surname. Even if you want to vie for election, we will not look at you basing our argument on your surname. That is where we are going back. And even if you look at, if you listen at the Bunge la Wananchi that's happening all in Jivanji, even in Jacaranda and everywhere. And even if you listen to, if you observe the engagement in social media platforms, you will realize that as a country, we are very far away from overcoming this monster of tribalism. Because you will see young people insulting each other based on their ethnicity. And yet they will claim that as the young people, we are not tribal. But when you differ with me politically, I'll insult you based on your ethnicity. And that's unfortunate. It shows you how pretentious we are as a society, that we will pretend when circumstances favor us, but when the rubber meets the road, my true colors will come out. That's why you will see even a 19-year-old, when he differs with another 19-year-old on social media in terms of politics, and maybe he's a Luo, he will be told, go and get some circumcised first before you come and talk to me. So it shows you how people are obsessed with this tribalism thing. And if people assume that if your name starts with O, automatically you are an ODM member. And even if you criticize somebody online, they will tell you, you go and be with, you see how your Baba is misleading you. So stereotyping is still a big problem in this country. So until we overcome the issue of stereotyping people based on their surname, the issue of balkanizing people based on their surname, assuming that if you are a Mkamba, then you must be a supporter of Kalonzo. If you are a Luo, then you must be a Raila supporter. If you are a Kikalenjin, then you must be a Ruto supporter. Those are stereotypes that should not even be existing in our society right now if we are to overcome this monster of tribalism. If we will overcome this, I am afraid not in this coming election, maybe in 2032. Because I thought that Kenya has seen it all. But by observing the current occurrence in our politics, I don't think so. And that's why even you saw when Gachagua was impeached, all the Kikuyus retreated and say, no, this is our son, we cannot do this. Because people did not go to look at the issues. They looked at Gachagua as a Kikuyu, and it didn't matter whether he has done anything wrong or not. As long as he's a Kikuyu, we stand with him. And and that happens to either side. So as the young people, they must start to overcome this kind of stereotype, this kind of retreating to tribal cocoons, and starting with our people. We must be focused on issues if we are to overcome this monster. But it cannot be one-sided. That the youth from one side of one region of the country are very much nationalistic, and they see things from a national angle. But the youth from the other side, when one of them is touched, they say, no, this is ours. It must be a collective effort by all the young people in the country, whether the Gen Zs will manage to do this, whether it's the Gen Alpha that will do this, but we must overcome this as a society if we are to make progress in this country and ensure that we eventually have good leaders who will ensure that we have a good governance in this republic. That's my take.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barak. To our viewers, I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much. Gypsy Corner, asante sana. Stariko Ogola, asante sana. Brenda Obedi, thank you so much. Eric Ayaga, asante sana. Batseba Ndwari, asante sana. Judith Karitha, asante sana. KK, Mr. KK, umepotea sana. I hope you're doing good. Karibu BBM. I also want to tell or remind our new viewers that this is Brother Benson Media, and here we say that your opinion counts. If you're new, we request you to kindly like and subscribe to the channel, and we will really appreciate. Mr. Barak, I'm also taking this opportunity to say thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. As we are almost getting to the tail end, we've had a discussion here on the issue of Adani and the moves that the president took by ensuring that he terminated, the Adani deal of building and managing Jkia, and also the issues of energy, where Adani was supposed to help to work with the Ketraco, a deal that was being signed by Ketraco. There is so much that people have said. Some people are saying that this is a move that the president took after the pressure from the people of the Republic of Kenya. Some are saying it's because of the problems that Adani got himself in the US and the exposure that we saw. And, there are so many things, but above all, the people of Kenya, majority of them are happy. Majority are saying it is okay, it is a good move, while others are saying it is not okay, that the president Adani should be given time to continue and to do what is necessary, despite all those negative views that we've seen. Mr. Barak, maybe your last, what do you want to, anything that is still pending about Adani, and then you'll give us your last remarks as well.
Well, as we conclude, I just want to say that I think Kenya should not. I saw many people are happy, are congratulating the president for terminating Adani deal. I think that is not right, because Ruto created this problem, and we should not congratulate him for solving it. Because it's very funny that leaders create problems and when they solve them, you clap for them and you praise them, and they take credit. How do you take credit for a problem that you created yourself? So I think that is not being really rational, because he's the one who brought these people here. He gave them the contract. Now he has terminated the contract because of public pressure. Should we clap for him for doing that? I don't think so. It's like you setting your house ablaze, then you put off the fire, then you expect us to congratulate you and say that you've done a good job. No, that is not how things should be. We should call him out and tell him that he should govern this country, knowing that Kenya is a democratic society and public participation is paramount in any democratic society. Going forward, he must ensure that he involves the public in critical decisions that affect the public and the future of this country. And Kenyans must be on guard.
And then, sorry, you were actually supposed to give your last remarks, but I've remembered that there's a question here that is still remaining on all this which happened, all this issue of Adani and all the conversations that we had. Remember, the side of opposition led by Raila Amolo Odinga, them crossing over to join the government. This is somehow going to affect the ODM party. And so I wanted to ask you, just as our topic here is, what should then be next for the experts that ODM given, the government, the KK government, and also what would be next to Raila Amolo Odinga, being that he took part and supported this, and then the president then dropped the whole deal. Maybe after giving that opinion, you'll give us your last remarks then. Thanks.
Well, I think nothing is really next for them. These leaders are shameless, and it's unfortunate because it's not the first time Raila has supported a controversial deal with the government as long as his interests are being taken care of. So he has done this before and he's doing it again, and he will do it again without feeling any iota of shame at all. And I'm only sympathizing with Wandayi because Wandayi, is still young, and I believe he has serious political ambitions in this country. And I believe that I think he feels that he was set up, especially after defending Adani so passionately yesterday before the Parliament Select Committee. And I think 2 hours later, Ruto dropped the deal. I think it left him with a lot of questions in his mind. But unfortunately, he has nothing to. There's nothing much he can do because he's not even there out of his own volition. He is there because Raila told him to be there. So he's loyal to Raila, so he must be there. And he will just continue serving in this government, even if there's a lot of confusion, because he made his bed and he must lie on it. There's no way, there's no turning back. And even though we sympathize with him because we know that he's finding himself in an awkward position, he's not used to finding himself in such positions. But because he made his bed, he must lie on it. So I think going forward, as a person or as a leader, he must be careful with what he tells the public about Ruto's projects, because Ruto is so unpredictable. He can come out and say anything. You remember yesterday, he called out the DPP, he called out the police, he called out the judiciary, he called out so many people in his government that are not working very well, except himself. Because, it's ironical that the head of state is criticizing heads of state agencies within his executive arm of government. And you wonder, if you are the boss, you are the people who gave this, you are the person who gave these people this job. If they are not working properly, are you supposed to come to complain to us, who as your employees, or you're supposed to crack the whip on them? If the DPP is dropping cases on corruption, should the president come to complain to Parliament or to the public? And he's the one who appointed the DPP? Seriously? Yesterday, Ruto did not give a State of the Nation address because that was not a State of the Nation address. That was not what is expected of the head of state to do. Because he just came there to complain about people in his government who are not working, and he's the head of government. And he talked about issues that are not pressing, and he left out pressing issues. Right now, education and health are very critical to the people of Kenya. And you cannot keep on holding on to things that are not working without coming up with a tangible solution that can help the public. The lecturers are on strike. This is now the end of 4 weeks now. Next week is 5th week. His government has not been able to resolve that. And as the head of state, he did not mention anything about the lecturer strike. The plans of his government to sort out that issue, he did not mention. The health sector, even the secretary, CS for health, is not even convinced that SHA is working. If you call her and give her 10 minutes to tell you how SHA is working, she will not even be able to explain to you. And the president is expecting that CS to ensure that there is smooth transition from NHIF to SHA. It is not possible. Ogamba is not able to deliver and perform in education sector. So those are issues that he should sort out as the head of government. not go to Parliament to complain that the DPP is doing this, I don't know, the judiciary is doing that, the police will stop adoption. Surely, it was a letdown to the country, and the president should do better next time he gets an opportunity to address the national, the Parliament on the state of the nation. And those people who are drafting this message, this statement, these speeches to the president, they should up their game and stop making the president so vulnerable to the public, because he did not capture what is happening to the nation, and that state of the nation address did not address the issues that are affecting the nation at this moment. And as I conclude, I just want to thank all our viewers who have been very much active. Thank you so much for keeping us active and joining the session tonight. And we thank you for your time and your participation. And we hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a blessed day, a blessed night, wherever you are. Thank you so much and stay blessed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, brother Barak. I'm also taking this opportunity to thank you so much for finding time to join us at Brother Benson Media at this hour. We don't take it for granted. We're very much grateful to our viewers. Gypsy Corner, asante sana for your consistent engagement at the comment section. Tunashukuru sana sana. I've also seen KK. KK has been here and there, lakini tumemwona leo. Asante sana KK kwa kukuja. But Seba, asante sana. Thank you so much for joining and also your consistency in comment. Eric Ayaga, our good friend, asante sana. Wewe ni mwana Nairobi, anajua Nairobi pande zote. Hivi karibuni tutaanza, we'll start a documentary. He'll be the star. He'll be directing us on the streets of Nairobi. I can see Brenda. Brenda was also there. Asante sana Brenda. As Tariko Ogola, asante sana. And everyone who joined, if you are at the viewing side and you've not commented, we request you to kindly subscribe to the channel. And this is Brother Benson Media, and here we do say that your opinion counts. Kindly subscribe because it is a way of supporting us as a channel. Thank you so much, Gypsy Corner. Thank you. I've seen your messages. Yes, so now I want to take this opportunity to wish you a blessed evening, a blessed night, a blessed morning, blessed afternoon, a blessed evening from wherever you are. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. Santeni sana.